A popular tradition among high school students nationwide evolves into a potentially dangerous game. Winnebago police tell WIFR reporter Alyssa Kelly about the serious consequences that come along with playing Senior Assassin.
The Senior Assassin game involves students using water or squirt guns to hit their target, eliminating that person from the game. Seems harmless, but according to police departments across the country, some students take their strategy a bit too far, using paintballs, soft air guns, and masks to ambush their target.
The activity really is meant to be a fun tradition.
Officer Jeffrey Spellman is the school resource officer at Winnebago High School. He alerted his supervisors at the police department that Senior Assassin is happening in their community.
Urge parents and students to have a conversation about potential risks and ramifications, including just inadvertent violations.
Spellman says it's upsetting that a once fun game turned dangerous with potentially serious consequences.
In the context of today's environment, these activities can pose risks that just simply can't be ignored.
Last spring, police in Gurnee and Arlington Heights saw the game play out in their communities.
Kids are going to the extreme with this game. There are reports of kids as simply as using a water gun, but they're putting dye in it to make it look like blood when they hit somebody with a squirt gun. There's instances where kids have gone into businesses, restaurants and things, masked.
Winnebago Police Chief Jeff White tells me Winnebago has not had issues with the game, but warns students if you go anywhere masked or with real-looking weapons, you could be arrested and face expulsion from the school.
I want people to have fun. I want the kids to have fun. They're in the highlight of their life. They're going to graduate from high school. It's not conducive out in public.
Chief White says a better alternative is to eliminate your opponents with stickers or rent out a paintball facility or park that is monitored by adults.
Thank you, Alyssa. And parents are urged to discuss the dangers of the game with their kids and monitor their actions.